Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of Maker's Mark Cask Strength. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to my review of Maker's Mark Cask Strength. You may have seen my videos recently where I've covered both of the Maker's Mark core range. Well, I was on a bit of a Maker's Mark buying frenzy at the time, and I opted for the Cask Strength as well. This particular one I found at auction. It's a 375ml bottle from the US, but you can get the full-size bottle in UK retailers for about £70. This particular bottle is a 2014 edition and its ABV is 56.6%. The Maker's Mark Cask Strength is exactly the same recipe and liquid that goes into standard Maker's Mark. Obviously the difference is this isn't barreled together in batches and it isn't watered down. It's also non-chill filtered, so it's exactly as it left the barrel, apart from very basic filtering to take out particles. It's wax dipped, just like the other Maker's Mark bottles, and it also has a synthetic cork, which is different to the standard Maker's Mark, which has a screw cap. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whiskey. Right, so before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a look at the colour. I'd say that's like a russet. It really has a nice red glow to it. Let's try on the nose. Right, so this is interesting because unlike the standard Maker's Mark, it doesn't give away that much on the nose. I get a little bit of ethanol, a little bit of alcohol vapour. I get some nice red apples. I get a little bit of vanilla in there. And also get a hint of linseed oil, that sort of window putty. But yeah, not much more with this. So let's move on to the palate. For me, it immediately doesn't need water. If you take too big a sip, then you'll know about it. But it doesn't need water if you're gentle and you take your time with it. I get sweet vanilla. Obviously, you get the heat and sort of a little bit of peppery prickle as you'd expect from a high ABV dram, but not significant. And then there's like an oiliness. Obviously, it's non-chill filtered, which is good, and that oiliness really does coat the palate. It's got quite a lot of texture to it. Let's have another sip, see what else I get. Yes, I'm starting to get the brown sugar, but there is a slight bitterness for me, slight sort of dry wood bitterness, but it's not off-putting, it's not strong. The other flavours dominate much stronger than that, but not much more. It's quite a simple dram in both the nose and the palate. It does stay on the palate for a long time. That finish is very long. There's a slight mustiness to it, which I have picked up on other Maker's Marks. There's that peppery prickle, which really does linger. It's starting to, well, it's almost like a white pepper on the tongue. And there is that vanilla sweetness, which carries along with it. But for me, it's quite a potent dram. There's not much going on the nose or the palate, as I've said. But that simplicity works well. The fact that you've got the oiliness that works well with the heat, and that sweetness, it's just a very simple, robust bourbon whiskey. It's not gonna blow your socks off. You know, the ABV isn't massive. It takes to water quite well. Don't add too much though. It definitely doesn't need much. And those simple but strong flavours work really well together. And unlike the standard Maker's Mark, which is obviously much better value, in terms of what you get for a bottle, you don't get a great value experience, unlike the cask strength. It's obviously only released in batches, so it is fairly small numbers. Sometimes it can be unavailable in the UK, but you know, there are times of the year when it is released. So if this sounds up your street, then keep an eye out for it. And it is currently available in certain UK retailers. But I've only got a half-size bottle, and now I've opened it, I think this is not going to last too long because it's such a delicious dram, and the fact that I know I can get more means I'll probably drink this quicker than I would have otherwise. So if this sounds up your street, then why not check it out? And if it doesn't, for whatever reason, then I'll see you in my next review. Slauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.